Hi friends, in Planet Earth Dating, it's Sunday, November 6, 2016. In the Lynn life and the Jamie body mind, the authorized souls continue to be only child souls from the smaller subatomic, and the intrusions from above continue.
That's true.
Above meaning larger and less dense levels.
Ooh, that's true.
We're going to go with the foundational assignment, which is to do what is ours to do right now in all dimensions to manifest the divine plan, since that's what our soul contracts commit us to doing. And with that, the formally videoed portions of today's efforts begin.
Speaking to the grass right here in our filming location, what we're doing right now is we're pulling out trauma threads that are messing us up in our own lives, in our own experiences of sentience. And this particular thread, which is really common, goes way, way back, multiple lifetimes, many lifetimes along the strand of incarnations of this particular presence. And so it's likely that you have this too, because we all have stuff that's messing us up. We all have these weird, cloggy tangles, and they come with us life to life. They travel with us as we travel. There we go. And I feel nodding feelings from the grass too. And so if we're taking it as our working theory that we all have this stuff, would you like to do this exercise with us and pull out your own trauma strands? Pull out your own problems that are choking you?
Yeah, it's not about enlisting them to pull out their own problems, because that window of opportunity opened and closed a long time ago. We're way past that. This is about if they want to do that while they join us in clearing from the smaller subatomic presences who wish to go to the light and are not able to get there because of all the intervening astral layers.
That's true.
That's what we're actually asking them to participate in.
That's true.
Now, if they also want to, for their own benefit, engage in simultaneous self-healing by pulling out their own trauma strands while they are also engaged in the activity of helping the greater good through allowing dead people to go to the light who are trying to get to the light and can't get there because we're in the way.
That's true.
Then there's win, 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 win. But the assignment is to get these dead people out who are trying to get to the light, and we're blocking their way. We, as a collective, are blocking their way, and shame on us. Shame on us. We're keeping people from the light. Ooh, I don't want that on my karmic record.
No, I really don't.
And so, for those of us who are willing to let it blast through us, at least that won't be on our karmic record.
That's true.
We'll just have to deal with all the rest of the things we've done.
That's true.
And not done.
Now the grass is kind of angry at us, though. Speaking to the grass.
See if you can identify the anger. Identify. What does it feel like? Feel the anger. And when have we felt this before? Who was present? Who was around? Who does it feel like? What does it remind you of? Inside or outside? Day or night? Alone or with someone? Standing, sitting, lying down?
So this feeling that's coming off of the grasses, I know that I have felt it before, a long, long time ago, long before this life, in a very hot, dry place, and there are other people around, and feeling like I'm needing to make a decision, and I can see what the right thing to do is, and it's very difficult, and I don't want to do it.
I don't want to do it, and you can't make me.
That's true.
So the grass is having that reaction.
I do it, and you can't make me reaction. That's true. That's what this feeling is.
Cool beans. Onward ho. Let's talk to the trees.
That's true. Oh. First asking for permission to merge, which I hadn't done. Thank you. Whoa. To this tree, are you willing, are you willing to be a portal for the dead presences of the smaller subatomic to move through?
Like us. Are you willing to join us in being portals for dead presences
from the smaller subatomic to move through?
So that they can get to the light, rather than joining everybody else and being a hindrance on the course of presences who are trying to get to a consistent source of significantly higher vibration. In other words, trying to get to God.
That's true. Are you willing?
That's a no.
No.
That's a no.
Yeah,
Okay, let's do it. Come on.
Okay.
Anything
Pulling
other
out
than action
is
a no.
That's a no.
That's a no.
That's true. There we go. Continuing to pull up our own trauma strands while calling out from the smaller subatomic all those presences who want to go up to the light. Pulling up our own trauma ropes and calling out
That feels so
all
good.
those presences who want to go to the light. Yes, it does.
Maybe we'll ask this tree, are you aware of the work we were doing this morning, talking to the dead trees in the park, and asking them if they had ever done any of this kind of work? Kind of like vaguely.
Kind of vaguely.
Vaguely.
Yeah.
And are you aware that all those dead trees, and granted it's only a sampling of maybe 20 or so dead trees so far, but so far out of 20, none of them, 0, have used this practice. And so this practice didn't have anything to do with their death. Doing this practice didn't have anything to do with their death. Are you aware of that? Oh, maybe I am now. It's kind
Maybe
of
I am
feeling
now.
Oh,
That's true.
maybe I am now. And your friend, your dead bay tree friend over here, you were here when we were having the conversation with the bay tree this morning, and the bay
That's
tree
true.
said, "Oh no, I didn't do
I
that.
didn't do that.
I didn't do that."
That's true.
This is part of the bay tree pact. This doesn't have anything to do with these practices. And are you aware of those 3 dead pines that right over there, and how we were talking to them just this morning, and those 3 dead pines said not only did they not do the practices, but they were aware of them and actively didn't do them, and now they're dead? Oh.
Yeah, very aware of that.
All right.
Very aware of that.
Are you willing to just take as your working theory that these practices are not harmful to you as an individual and see how it feels? It actually feels fabulous.
That's true.
Would you be willing to do as an experiment? Just try it for a minute. How about that? 1 minute.
I feel willing. I feel motion.
Motion.
Up the back.
Ah, I know this reaction. I think the tree is saying this isn't cool.
That's true. That is what you're saying.
Oh, okay. All right, well, we'll see if that shifts over time. Not for you as an individual. Obviously, you care what your companions think, and
That's true.
we'll start asking others. You know, the ones who are closer to the dead trees probably are going to be more open to it or feel more affiliation with the dead trees. Let's start with that pine, because those were dead pines. Hey, friend, are you willing to engage in these practices? I feel more willingness.
More willingness. That's true.
All right,
Some
let's start with the
motion.
pine. Maybe all the pines, speaking to the pines.
That's
Hey,
true.
friends, pine trees, are you willing?
Are you willing? Feel some motion.
And to this oak tree, are you aware of triple oak out back? The really big oak trees, the huge oaks of this yard? They're doing it. If it's good enough for them, is it good enough for you?
Now he doesn't feel so cool for not doing it anymore.
No, you look like an idiot.
Oh no. I thought I was doing the cooler thing.
No, you
And
look
now I
like an
don't feel
idiot.
cool.
But you can be the leader of this front yard. Well, I don't know. Pine Tree ate your lunch on that.
That's true.
But you can jump on the bandwagon and not
That's
be
true.
one of the losers running around saying, wait for me.
That's true.
Let's ask this maple. Hey, would you like to do this? I don't feel motion, but I don't feel resistance
I also
either.
don't.
It feels like, oh, interesting.
I hadn't thought about
I hadn't
that.
thought about it. That's not true. You have thought about it, so you have thought about it.
Oh, that's true.
Let's just do it. Pulling up our own traumas from the deeper, smaller subatomic aspects of self, the traumas buried deep in our smaller subatomic presences,
That's true.
and also drawing up the smaller subatomic presences themselves who are dead and are trying to get to the light, and the rest of us are standing in their way.
That's true.
So at least we don't have that on our karmic records when we check out, because heads up, friends, we're all going to die. Death is a part of life. I'm going to die. You're going to die. We're all going to die. Newsflash, this is going to happen to you also. You're not the one exception in all of creation. And so when you die, do you want this on your karmic record that you stood in the way of dead presences who are trying to get to God? People are crazy. They can't tell what's going on. They don't want to ask the right questions, so they ask wrong questions and therefore get crazy answers.
That's true.
Am I exactly like this?
Am I exactly like that? And the closer you get to the light, the better it's going to feel.
Well, not necessarily. The better it is just because it is a shorter distance to get to the light, because you're going to go through bands of light and dark, and you'll go from places that are better to places that are worse, and places that are better and places that are worse, but you'll be closer to the edge of the contaminated zone. You'll be closer to being out of it and into a space where truth and true love, which is calling each other into our greatness, where truth and true love prevail. Somebody's asking, what did we learn? And what we learned is that we need to start with the trees before we get to the grasses, because apparently the grasses think the trees are cool, and the trees don't apparently think the grasses are cool. And when we started with the trees and then worked with the grasses took it on and spread. And here when we tried to start with the grasses, they didn't think it was cool, and they said basically, I don't want to do it. You can't make me. So we have to start where there's opening for engaging in the practices that are actually wonderful, solve all problems, and feel great, and start with the coolness aspects of it. Work with coolness. If we ignore that, it doesn't work.
That's true.
Unfortunately.
Correcting the errors for the week just begun last night at midnight. Correcting the errors for the month of November. Correcting the errors for the decade of the 2010s, start to finish. Correcting the errors for the lifetime of the physical host, start to finish. Including the emissions for the formal videoed portions of today's efforts. Including the emissions for the week just ended last night at midnight. Including the emissions for the week just begun last night at midnight. Including the emissions for the month of November, start to finish. Whoosh. Including the emissions for the listing period that ends at the successful completion of a successful closing. Including the emissions for the year, 2016, start to finish. Including the emissions for the decade of the 2010s, start to finish. Siding up, search for true central axis. Okay. Saying to the closing process itself, go straight up. The search for true central axis, go up as high as you can, and intend to get to a consistent source of significantly higher vibrations and run for the light. And when you start to fall down, which is inevitable when you start to fall down, get off at that level wherever it is, and tell the presences there what happened to you, and then ask them why it happened that way. And then ask them if they're willing to come up with you higher, and expect that they won't come with you, and that you'll go up anyway alone, and then go up higher and keep going for the light. Signing up. Sending it up. driving learner's permit.